Welcome into another edition of McCready and Siskey, powered by Rain Total Body Fuel. I'm Neal McCready. That is Tyler Siskey here on this Monday afternoon. Happy Columbus Day to all who observe. And thanks for being with us. Tyler, how are you?
I'm good. I am rocking a partially frozen Valencia orange.
Oh,
Like I said, it's like the
like
peach.
an orange slush.
This is I'm telling you, this right here. My guy Drew McGee, who coaches the second worst baseball team ever assembled, behind the Atlanta Braves. This tastes like Sunkissed, and the colder it gets, it tastes actually like if it's just in the refrigerator.
Yeah,
it tastes like a Sunkissed, and if you go frozen, you get hit with a legit orange taste. So it's good.
Oh,
like orange juice.
We're brought to you by Rain Total Body Fuel, 300 milligrams natural caffeine, BCAAs, electrolytes. Oh, we forgot all of our. It's okay.
It's okay.
We've got this stuff on the mind. Electrolytes, zero sugar. It's got what you need to push the limits and achieve your goals. Check them out on Instagram at Rain Body Fuel to learn more.
I forgot about the signs, Bob. I'll put them up next time. That's my fault. It's not your fault. But as you can tell, Neal, the Cooper Chevrolet is already bumping. And so it's truck season. It has been extended at Cooper Chevrolet and through October 16th. So everybody's on fall break. You got time to go right now. It's before October 16th. This might be your last chance. It really might be with the world's going on right now. This might be your last chance to get super low 3.9% financing for 72 months on the new Chevy Silverado Crew Cab, plus no payment for 90 days. Go to Cooper Chevrolet Buick in Anniston, Alabama, or get your information online at cooperchevrolet.com.
So let's get into it. It was a weird weekend of college football. I'm gonna level with you. I'm gonna be upfront with people. I'll try to be transparent. Like a lot of people, I say this sincerely when I say this about people. There are people out there in my field, our field. I guess you're sort of in the media field.
No, I refuse.
Okay.
I refuse.
There are people in my field that can block out what is going on in the rest of the world and just absolutely lock in on sports and nothing but sports. So help them God.
Right.
I'm not one of those people, Tyler. I'm not one of those people. I woke up Saturday morning. I saw all the footage of what was going on in Israel. And I had a very hard time doing two things. I had a very hard time putting it away. And I had a very hard time watching sports, if I'm honest. I mean, I was covering Ole Miss and Arkansas Saturday night in Vaught-Hemingway. I did my job. I wrote my column. I did all those things. But I can tell you that I had to make myself stop looking at Twitter. I had to make myself, talk to myself going, hey, focus on the game. You got to cover this game. It ended up being a fourth quarter game. Arkansas took a lead early in the fourth quarter, which when you do what I do, I immediately had to start thinking about, because I'd never considered that Ole Miss might lose the game. And with 13 minutes and change left, Arkansas scored a touchdown to take the lead. And at that point, as a journalist, you have to go, okay, well, what am I writing if Ole Miss loses, right? And so I started doing some of that in my head. Ole Miss drove down the field and scored. They won. So I never had to really spend a lot of time on that. But that exercise took me out of the darkness a little bit for a minute and got me doing what I've been doing most of my adult life, which is covering games and practices and things. And so I was doing that duality of, okay, I've got this column that I've been working on kind of all day about Ole Miss getting to 5-1 at the break and beating Arkansas, and here's what's coming, and here's where this team is, to starting to have to work on one on the other side of my screen about, wow, didn't go the way we all thought it would go. Here's what happened, and this is what it means, and this is a setback, and blah, blah, blah. And then when that ended, I went right back to that place where it's like, this just doesn't freaking matter, and what's happening in the world is what matters. And I did a little better yesterday. I made myself kind of watch a little NFL. I watched some Major League Baseball. But to say all that to say this, as we go over some of these games and things that happen.
Yeah, no.
I didn't see it all. I didn't see as much as I normally would have seen. Although I can tell you that I did see several examples that you're talking about. And I'm going to be honest, I'm going to add one to your list here. You've got a list of football IQ issues. You've got Miami not taking a knee, which we're going to talk about first. You've got Jalen Milroe throwing the ball on first down, which I saw in the press box. Like, what is he doing? And then I worried for his.
I can explain it, but it still's
I worried,
football IQ issues.
I worried for his safety at that point. Jed Fish in the second overtime. We talked about that a little this morning on the Oxford Exxon podcast, but I want to get your thoughts on it. Missouri, I did see that one, and I was like, what are you doing? Texas A&M's onside kick. I'm not even aware of it as we get started. And then there's one more that I've got that worked out for a coach. But as I was watching it happen, Lane Kiffin going for it on 4th and 1 from his own 34 a couple of minutes after falling behind. I was like, what are you doing? I mean, as it happened, I was like, you can't do this. And then he did it, and it worked. But I can tell you that column on the right side of my screen, had he not gotten it, had that not worked out, that column was about to go, well, I needed a lead for that column, and here it is. I know it worked. Maybe the analytics and the books say that's the way to do it. Lane knows more football than I'll ever know, and he's made more money than I'll ever think about making. But man, oh man, that felt like a real gamble at that point, because Arkansas only finished with 270 some odd yards of offense. I don't remember the exact number. It doesn't matter. They only ran the ball for 36 yards. I think that's right. The odds are, had you punted there, you would have stopped them and gotten the ball back with still plenty of time. Down 4 to go win a game. Anyway, we'll dive into it. Let's start with Miami.
All right. So first thing about football IQ issues is, I want to make this point. Football IQ issues are never a problem until they're a problem, because nobody talks about them if you win the game. They're not brought up. It's no big deal. You have a chance to fix them, whatever. I think this is a major epidemic going on in college football, because young kids don't watch. Same thing in baseball. They don't watch football. They don't watch baseball. They don't understand situational football like we did growing up, vice versa. And so we'll start with Miami not taking a knee. Now, like I told you when we were going over right before we started, Mario has never taken a knee, and nobody's ever questioned him about it until it's a problem. It's never been a problem until it's a problem.
Yep.
All he had to do, take a knee, they win the game. That's it. It's over. And
at that point, that's got to be the only play on your card.
100%. I've never done the finish. I'm to the point of, I know that was my job, right? I'm the clock guy, the clock manager, game manager guy. That's always what I did. Dude, I know that thing by heart. I know exactly every end of the game scenario there is. Part of that is working for the guy that's going to be in subject to here. But
if you can get in victory formation, you get in victory formation.
And sometimes you get in it when you can't even run out all the clock, and you extend it. If you got a chance, and even in that situation, let's say, well, he could have ran the clock out.
Yeah.
But let's say, in the new clock rules, right? It stops under 2 minutes, okay, after a first down. If the other team's out of timeouts, any first down that you get 240 and in, you win. Okay? That's the clock rules. Any first down, because there's no 2-minute warning in college. So any first down you get inside 240, you win. It's over. Ball game. And, he had like 30-something seconds, and he was still running a third down play. That's just, it is what it is. It cost him a game. I bet he does it from now on. And
I said this morning. You always hear his name on like the Alabama list, the possible, hey, who replaces Nick Saban when Nick Saban retires or whatnot. If I'm Alabama, that game Saturday disqualified him. Not only that, but his answer for it is, we always preach two hands.
I didn't hear it.
His answer was, we always preach two hands. He blamed his player. It's like, no, man. No, you need to own this.
I saw a clip where he said we should have taken a knee at the end, but I didn't hear the whole interview.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's not good. Cost him a game. And at this point, it may cost him too, because he's got the big game. That's why they were a little sleepy to begin with, is they got the big game at North Carolina this weekend.
Yeah.
They were looking ahead. Man, that's not good.
Well, to quote his linebacker on the bench, what the are we doing?
Yeah, dude.
Fair.
I saw that.
More than fair.
Yeah.
More than fair question.
But, they end up scoring with 1 second and beat you. 4-play drive. But the next one, I was losing my mind. My dad looked at me like, what the hell's wrong with you? So I understand Alabama gets a first down with about 1:40. Okay, Texas A&M is out of timeouts. They hurried to run a play so they wouldn't review the play because I don't know if you saw or not. His knee was down. He bobbled the ball, got off of the ground, and actually secured the catch with his knee off the ground. But there's no way in hell on the sideline that we see it on TV.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, you didn't see it until the replay that it wasn't even close. But, when you're going live in moment, he probably thought his knee was down. Let's get this play off so we can get the clock rolling. Okay, so they called a play or whatever. The football IQ issue in this one was Jalen Milroe. All right, Jalen Milroe looked up and he sees a guy that's uncovered out there, and his just natural instincts, he's going to catch it and throw it out there. But you got to know. I mean, that's football IQ. You got to know in situations. Just, I don't care if he takes a knee, takes a snap, runs forward, falls on the ground. It doesn't matter. A snap is a snap.
Right.
Instead,
that clock's got to keep moving.
Instead, he threw a 30-footer it was bad. He threw a skip pass out there and stopped the clock. Now, in Alabama's case, I knew what he was going to run. 8 seconds is the number that's the max that you can run off on a play. We call air ball. And most teams have it, but it's just basically you secure the edge with extra tight ends. You have one wide receiver. You sprint out. You teach your guys to hold, okay? You teach them to hold because if they accept the holding penalty, then you get to re-snap it. So you teach them to hold, like tackle them.
Whatever you got to
do. It's kind of like taking a safety. And you sprint it out, you hold on to it as long as you can, and you let her fly. The ball does not stop until the ball hits the ground, even when it goes out of bounds. It doesn't stop when it crosses the out of bounds.
Right.
It stops when it hits the ground. They were able to run 7 seconds off on the last play to do that. But that's just football IQ. When you're the person on the field that's supposed to be the smartest guy with football IQ is supposed to be the quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
So it starts to make a little bit more sense why he's throwing picks into red. He can't distinguish between red 7 and red 2. So, but yeah, that was not good. It could have cost him a game. Same thing. It's not an issue. Do you know why it's not an issue?
It's not an issue till it's an issue.
It's not an issue till it's an issue. They won. Third one here, Arizona coach. This is twice. And somebody actually, I forgot who it was. Somebody tweeted at me. There's actually an account called Football Overtime Rules or something on Twitter. I think it's what tagged me in it. For the second time this year, not the first, in the same conference.
They caught him on camera.
They caught him on camera not knowing the rules. I was watching the game live. He literally sent his kicker onto the field.
Yep.
For the second overtime, and the white hat had to go up to the kicker and be like, hey,
you do know you can't kick it here, right?
All right. Again, not an issue till it's an issue. Do you know why it wasn't an issue there? Because he had a timeout he could burn. Let's say he'd already used his timeout in overtime. He was going to take a delay a game.
Mm-hmm.
And now you're going to go for 2 from the 8. Those are decisions that get you fired.
Here's my problem with Fish. They could have gone for it at the end of the game, right? Didn't they score at the end to send it to overtime?
No, USC. Oh yeah, no, USC missed a field goal to win the game.
Okay, who got the ball first in overtime?
SC? No.
Yeah.
No, they had a chance to win the game in the first overtime, going for 2.
Arizona.
Yeah.
And decided to kick instead.
Yes.
Right there, you got to go for it.
100%.
Run your best play.
The only reason I had it up, we'll go ahead and knock it out. So they end up going to 4 overtimes, but I'm with you.
3, but yeah.
3 for whatever.
By the way, the rule is so bad. I hate the rule. The rule's stupid. Starting on the 3rd overtime, it's all 2-point conversions. Okay, stop. That's so dumb. That is so dumb. Play the game. There's a fix to this.
Here's where I don't like it.
I hate college football's overtimes.
Here's why I don't like it. They say that it's a player. They blame it on player safety, right? They don't want to go all these overtimes,
right?
But we're going to go add 45 games in playoffs. So stop.
Yeah,
stop.
Well, what I don't like is that you spend the entire football season listening to coaches go, we got to be really good in all 3 phases, 3 phases. And then we get to overtime, we're going to take one of those phases away completely. And then we get to the 3rd overtime, we're going to make this thing basically a luck of the draw. We're going to make this about 2-point plays. Not football, but plays from the 2.5-yard line football.
Yeah.
I just don't like it. I think it's dumb.
He should have gone for 2 in the first overtime.
Yes.
And just
Run your best
Especially
play
on the road.
Run your best play with Caleb Williams standing on the bench. And if you get it, awesome, you win. If you don't, you don't.
Yeah, I think I would probably end up getting fired. But I think if I was a college head coach, these things are talked about, well, everywhere I've worked. Apparently, they're not talked about everywhere. If we got into any overtime situation and I had the ball second and I had to score a touchdown, we are going for 2. Because you got to have 55 freaking 2-point plays prepped anyway. Well, guess which one you run first? Your best one.
And I interrupt. Doors rule. You're exactly right. In the Cooper Chevrolet chat, soccer can be the same with penalty kicks. I hate it. I do too. Penalty kicks are the devil. Games you should not play 90 minutes of soccer, then 2 15-minute halves or 10-minute halves or whatnot, and then go, okay, well, no one can score. Let's do penalty kicks. Okay, so all that soccer that you just played has now been rendered meaningless because now we're going to make this about luck. We're going to make this about luck now. Why not just flip a freaking coin?
That would be classic.
Hey, heads or tails, whoever, if you call heads and it's heads, you win. If you call heads and it's tails, your team loses because it's just as random. Nope. You keep playing. What you do after the 15 minutes is you go, hey, it's sudden death. It's golden goal. Whoever gets a goal wins. But if we have to play out here for 3 hours until someone scores a goal, it's what we're going to do.
Yeah.
The NFL is the only one that comes close, but even the NFL rules wrong. Because if you get the ball first and you drive down to score a touchdown, it's over. Nope. The other team should get a shot. And then after both teams have had a possession, it's sudden death. It's just fix it. Or flip a coin.
Yeah, in the Cooper Chevrolet chat, Hunter Hall says Cisco on TV broadcast, a sheet is mentioned that tells you what to do, RE time management. For all the times the sheet is mentioned, I don't think I've ever seen it. Do you have a copy? I can get you one. I actually printed it off. I got it online when I printed it off, but I had a card. If you have 1 timeout, 2 timeouts, 3 timeouts, how much time you can run off. And they give you 3 seconds on that sheet. They give you 3 seconds of play. Now, the only time you would actually run offense, I have done this before. I have handed the ball off if you needed like an extra 2 or 3, 4 seconds or whatever per play, because you can get, you can do things to run more clock during the actual play instead of taking a knee, because that's pretty quick. All right, the fourth one, Missouri. I still don't understand this one. Missouri, awful. Eli Drinkwitz goes for it on 4th and 32 from his own 28. He was down 3, had all of his timeouts, and 1:06 left on the clock. Okay, so he's down 3. He's got to
actually had a little bit more on the clock had he done what I would have done, which is, look, we're not going to get it. Let's run the punter out here. Let's punt it. I think you would have ended up having like 120, 122 on the clock. Get a good punt off and then stop them. And maybe they'll make a mistake. Maybe they'll
they stopped. They did. They stopped them.
Yeah, no, but you stopped them on a short field and then they punted.
That's what I'm saying.
And then now you got to go 94 yards with a minute left and no timeout.
They ran 21 seconds off the clock. And so they only needed a field goal. The problem is field position. Like what you're saying is let's say you punt it and you stop them. You get it. You punt it back. Now you got the ball at the 30 or 40 yard line, between the 30 and the 40, when you need to get, because you got a kicker now. Look, he's not accurate all the time, but he can kick the shit out of it. Yeah. You really don't need to get very far. You need to get like 20 yards and game time field goal with that. Because the percentages of you getting on 4th and 32, there is no call on the call sheet for 4th and 32. There's not one. It's the end of the game Hail Mary scenario. What's what you saw, which was the old Boise lateral plays, what they ran. That Boise scored on against Oklahoma back in the day. All right, and the last one, very similar situation. Very, very similar situation. The Texas A&M onside kick.
Okay, I did not see this one.
All right, so they scored to cut it to 6 or whatever it was right before, and they had all 3 timeouts. They needed to get the ball back in decent field position, okay? They decided to try an onside kick. They didn't get it. And so if in the event that Alabama ended up getting a first down, right? But if Alabama hadn't got a first down, they were going to be able to punt the ball, and they were going to have to go the length of the field to score a touchdown instead of kicking it deep and stopping them. And then getting the ball around midfield trying to score. Just field position decision. I thought that was a little early to do that. And then they didn't go for it. They had 4th and 1 from the plus 45 late in the game, and they didn't go for it, and they punted instead. I think I would have gone for it. I mean, you got when you're down, you got to go. So those were the big ones I saw this weekend. And again, at the end of the day, it's not a problem until it's a problem.
Boy, the game I covered. I mean,
I'm going to get to that when we talk about them. I got them to talk about here in a minute.
Okay.
All right, Neal. Do you know what time it is?
Time to review our Make It Rain.
It's Tell
picks.
the Truth Monday.
Tell the Truth Monday.
And here's the truth, Neal.
Yep.
The truth is you and I may not have this college thing figured out, but we got this damn NFL thing figured out. Between you and I, we went 9-1 in the NFL.
How about that?
I was very pissed at you, as I told you last night. I was fired up about my picks, and then I ended up going 4-1, and you went 5-0 in the NFL. So after all of that, Neal, we had a 7-4 weekend, both of us.
Yeah, we did.
And we say, and let's tell the truth, and we got it in the competition. We say 7-4, but here's the truth. Actually, against the number, against the spread, we're both 7-3. So that was a good weekend.
Okay.
All right, Neal, we'll start it off with you. You had, for an L, this little surprised me a little bit. Washington State, you had them plus 3.5. They get beat by 8, which is actually what the spread was supposed to be. But it got bumped down. But UCLA beats Washington State at home 25-17. Dude, I thought, did you watch this? I know you didn't.
I didn't see any
So
of it.
UCLA did a really good job on defense. That's where that game was won. I thought Washington State actually played well enough on defense. Hell, they had a touchdown on defense. They had a pick 6. So they just couldn't get it going offensively, which was surprising because they've been so good lately. Any kind of offensive performance should have been good there.
They're proving to be a team that's one team in Pullman and another team when it's not in Pullman.
Yeah, I ain't no doubt about that. They've always been too. It's just they looked better this time. All right, your Iowa Hawkeyes. You won this one. You had Iowa minus 2.5. They blow out the Purdue Boilermakers 20-14. That's like a 78-point win for the Iowa Hawkeyes.
Huge win. I mean, 20 points. 20 points. I mean, come on. Had a bad day defensively. Gave up 14.
Yeah.
But we played really well on offense. Kind of controlled the game. I think we completed a pass. It was awesome.
With the backup quarterback.
Yeah. 20 points. Easy cover for the Hawkeyes.
So that was a dub. That was one of your 2 dubs on Saturday.
Yep.
All right, Neal. And then the game that you lost and I won.
Yep.
Which we were just breezing on. Alabama beats Texas A&M 26-20. You had Texas A&M. I had Alabama. Here's the deal with this game. It was really a tale of 2 halves. Texas A&M played well in the first half, and Alabama just didn't play great. They did enough to stick around, but Alabama came out in the second half and really dominated that game in the second half, especially up front. Alabama's defensive front took over that game, and Max Johnson could not breathe. They did a good job really on all sides getting after it. Alabama just killed themselves again with penalties. But again, it's not a problem until it's a problem. They actually blocked a field goal to run it back to make it a 14-point game, and it gets called back because of blocking behind the ball. And they called a illegal blindside block that was kind of like, I get it. It's the rules. But it was kind of iffy. And my dad was riding with me in the car, and he said, we had it on my phone in the car. We were finishing up watching the last fourth quarter in the car. He says, "Oh boy," I says, "I bet Nick's gonna wear his ass out." And I said, "You damn right." I said, "He's probably gonna pack his locker up when he gets back." And then I looked to see who it was, and I said it was Dallas Turner. I said, "Nope, he won't say a word to him."
Dallas
Hey Dallas, don't do that again, please.
Yeah,
that's more how you do that. You treat, because I'm with. That's the one thing that I think is really good about Coach Saban is kind of how, really the good coaches I've been around do this. You don't treat every player the same. You don't. You can't do that in today's world. But, yeah, I said, no, he probably just told him, say, hey, Dallas, look, let's just don't do that again, please. Yeah. You just keep sacking the quarterback, though. But everybody's sleeping on Alabama. They're gettable. They're gettable. Yeah, they're gettable. They're gettable.
Famous last words.
Famous last words. I try to tell everybody is like,
you did.
You did. And they're getting better every single week. They're getting better. They're dinged up a little bit, especially in the back end. Malachi Moore, very fortunate. I think he's going to have an ankle deal, but he'll be fine. It was scary. He's a leader on the back end. looked like he tore his ACL. It was bad, but they said it was an ankle, which I didn't even see the ankle. I thought it was a knee, but they got a little break in the schedule here for a second. They get one week, and then they got Tennessee at home. So
be a weird line. We'll talk about the lines tomorrow, but feels like this is an opportunity for Bama to sleepwalk a little bit. They'll win easily, but the line's like 20 points.
Yeah. As long as if they play that well in defense, though,
it won't matter.
It won't
against
matter.
Them.
They're good. They got the part that you can sleepwalk. They got good defense.
Yeah.
All right, Neal, I know you were excited. Hey, your message to North Carolina got over.
Did it?
I actually sent it to my guys at North Carolina. They loved it. North Carolina, Tez Walker's return. They were 9.5-point favorites.
They won easy.
They beat the Qs, the Orange, 40-7.
See, I need to work out a deal where I get some of the extra points and apply them elsewhere. You know?
Well, you're doing fine. You're beating me right now. You're doing fine. We'll cover the standings in a minute, but you're doing fine. And then in a game that I was actually with you on that shocked me a little bit, UConn. You had Rice -9.5. UConn gets their first win of the year as they go on the road and beat Rice 38-31. And this game wasn't even particularly close. That was Rice coming back. It was like a 20-point game for a while.
Yep, I'm aware.
Yeah, that one shocked me. And then your money line.
I was close. I was close on the money line.
You were close.
We battled them the whole day.
Yeah.
We were down a touchdown pretty much the whole game.
Yep.
We were up at one point in the second half.
NC State wins 48-41.
Yep.
And you had the money line there that you lose. So you went 2-4 in college.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Neal. My college, we'll cricket over here. The note I had this one, I was shocked. I'm still a little shocked, to be honest with you. I had Notre Dame -6.5. I love that pick. Watched both of them play, and it looked like I picked the complete wrong side in this game. They didn't just get beat; they kind of got manhandled against Louisville on Saturday night. Notre Dame loses 33-20, and it really never felt like it was any particular close. Louisville was a more physical team. They got after the quarterback. They definitely won the battle up front. Notre Dame wasn't great on defense. They look tired.
Yeah.
And
they might be tired.
And they might be because they've had, week after week. They've had like 3 or 4 weeks in a row here of just mentally draining games. They had Ohio State, and you had Duke, and now you got you were on, College Game Day last week against Duke of all people. When you saw that on the schedule a few years ago, you were like, oh, that's our breather. Then they go to Louisville, Louisville's been bad for a while, and all of a sudden now Louisville's got it going. And then they got to host USC, which we'll talk about tomorrow, but they got USC coming into town. That's 4 or 5 in a row that they're not used to. And they're getting everybody's best shot because they're Notre Dame. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And they ran into a buzzsaw, man. They just did not look – they just looked average as grits and not very physical in that game. All right, I lost that one. Then I started going a little winning streak here. So I had Western Kentucky on Thursday night. This is what I put Mr. Monday and Thursday night on the line for to push it to 10-0-1, and we'll be going for another one tonight to try to get to 11-0-1 tonight here in just a little bit. But I had Western Kentucky -6. Neal, against your hometown La Tech,
the Bulldogs.
Almost called them Red Raiders. This game was 35-7 at halftime.
Yeah.
Okay. I damn near turned the TV off. I'm talking about complete and utter domination. I mean, I'm talking about it looked like a college team versus a high school team for a half. Western Kentucky did not get a first down in the second half.
Oh, is that right? Did this game get close?
The final score was 35-28, and they had to. And La Tech threw a pick on the last drive, going to tie the game.
Oh wow! How about that?
I mean, it was not even close. Western Kentucky started like running the clock, trying to run the clock, the first possession of the third quarter, and they would run the ball. All right, 2nd and 7, they'd run the ball. 3rd and 5, then they'd throw a pass. People dropping passes, so they're stopping the clock on 3rd down. This went on for like 5 straight possessions. And they played with their food a little bit, but they did get the dub. They did cover, but good gosh, I was having a meltdown because this was my favorite pick of the week. I pressed it up. I'd never do this. I felt so good about it. I pressed it up 3 units. and I was feeling really good about myself at halftime, and I started getting legitly not really normal pissed at a football game that, again, from Western Kentucky and La Tech. I don't know anybody. I was damn near throwing shit at the TV in the second half. I was pretty pissed.
It's hard to go to Ruston and win.
Hard to go to Ruston.
It's always been hard to go to Ruston and win. Everybody knows it.
Everybody but me, apparently.
Everybody knows when you go to Ruston, you better pack a lunch because there's not many good places to eat either. You just gotta be prepared.
All right, Neal. Then I lost a game. I had the Kentucky Big Blue Nation.
You did.
Wildcats on the road. They had 14, and that hook was going to be a really big hook. It
wasn't big enough.
I was all excited about that hook. The only problem is I needed that hook to be about 30 points worth of hook.
My God.
Look, man.
I didn't see it. I just saw the box.
I watched it. Let me tell you something. All right, so I was talking to a good friend of ours that has good Georgia connections. It's a really good friend of mine. After he came off the golf course the other day. And he's like, he goes, all these people are up in arms about Georgia and their offense and all that stuff. And he goes, especially after the UAB game, everybody's like, oh, this. He goes, did they realize that Georgia scored touchdowns on the first 6 possessions of the game? First 6 possessions of the game, they scored touchdowns, and people are complaining about that. He's like, what are you supposed to do? And this was Friday, I believe, after I'd already made my pick. I wish I could have gone back in time and picked the other one, because he goes, they are going to make a point tomorrow. You watch. They are going to make a point tomorrow. And by gosh, they did.
They did.
That was the old Georgia. That was the old Georgia.
That's what people have been used to seeing.
Yeah, that's scary.
So much for the cracks in the armor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They put some armor all on it. They're pretty good.
Turns out it was just a scratch.
I don't know. It didn't even look like a scratch the other day. That was just like a blemish.
Yeah.
It was just a blemish. They won 51-13. I think they held Kentucky of 60-something yards rushing, like not counting sacks. I mean, that was good, man.
Ooh. Yeah, they remain the favorite in the SEC.
Yes, I think that's safe. I think when the power rankings come out, I think they'll still be number 1.
Yep.
Any questions?
Nope.
All SEC fans just holding on that Georgia leg. Yeah. Georgia, please. SEC. It just means more. Come on, Georgia. I mean, they're just holding on. All right. And then the game I had the over in. I had over 60.5. Oklahoma, Texas. It hits barely, but it hit. They decided to play defense in the second half. I was good, and then they decided to try to play defense in the second half.
Jeff Lebby bailed you out there at the end.
My man Lebby.
Big drive for the Sooners.
Hey, even if they got a field goal, I felt really good once they kicked. When Texas scored, and Oklahoma had a big play down to get in field goal range, I was like, okay, as long as it goes to overtime, I'm going to hit the over.
Yeah, sure.
Let me tell you something. I'm really excited. This is going to be one, because I'll tell you why I'm excited. I have a lot of friends on that staff at Oklahoma.
Yep.
They took a complete offseason of just shelling from the media, from fans.
They looked bad last year.
Venables is not the guy for the job.
Yeah, they didn't look the part last year.
A lot of critique and stuff, and they did what they do.
Mm-hmm.
They stayed the course. I think the one big thing here is what they did that I was it's almost like a redemption a little bit, is they believed in their plan, and they did not vary from the plan. They had some bad apples that didn't want to buy into what they were trying to sell. They got rid of those bad apples, and they built the culture the way he wanted to build them. And here they sit. They go from, I don't know what they're ranked now.
I think 5th or 6th, something like that.
But they will. I don't even think they have a hard game left. It's going to be a Texas rematch in the Big 12 championship game. Which, how crazy would that be? Now, it's tough beating a team twice, but they got themselves in position, so I'm excited about that.
So the rest of the way for them, they've got UCF at home, at Kansas, at Oklahoma State, West Virginia at home, at BYU, TCU at home, and then in all likelihood a rematch with Texas.
Yeah. And what they got to do is they got to learn how to play now. Now you can't go to sleep. Now you got to go. You can't go to Kansas because, look, Kansas is at home. Kansas is tough. They'll score some points. You can't fall asleep like they tried to fall asleep a couple of weeks ago at Cincinnati. You cannot do that on the road. They got to go play. But excited for those guys there. And look, Texas is a good football team. The difference in this game was Quinn Ewers threw, I think, 2 or 3 picks. No, me and my man Dave were talking about this morning. I can't remember, but he threw 2 or 3. But all right, and then the Joker's on fall break right now because I really don't feel like getting my fat ass up out of this chair. So the Joker's on vacation. He's on fall break too.
Okay.
All right.
Even Jokers need breaks.
Joker needs a break. Talking about close to hitting one. This one I was legitly pissed. Arizona State loses 27-24. Colorado walks it off with a field goal at the end. And this is why I'm pissed. They drive down the field, they score, they tie the game. It's 24-24. They're out of timeouts. And the first fucking play of the next drive, they're in like just base freaking press defense and just let the guy run right by them. I mean, that's why cut him loose. Like, they're throwing. They don't even like to run the ball when it's P and 10. They're throwing the ball to try to get in field goal range. Less than a minute left to go in the game. And they just cut the guy loose for like 50 yards down the sideline to get him in field goal range. So they hit it like it was a short field goal. It was probably 30-something yards. They hit it. And then win the game, walk it off on 27-24. So I thought I was going to hit. And Arizona State had the lead for most of the game.
You know how close I came because I didn't have a money line that I felt good about. How close I came to going, you know what? SC's defense is so bad. I'll just roll with Arizona and see what happens at plus 1,100. And had that been the case, I would have been curled up in a fetal position Saturday night when that thing ended.
Had that been the case and you'd hit that thing, I would have gone straight to the church and started consulting with a priest because that would have been hard to catch. All right, college games. A couple college games here. Ohio State, Maryland. Maryland just fell apart in the second half, man. They had them where they wanted. They were up 17-10. It's 10-10 half, up 17-10 in the third, and just they gave up.
You know what?
27 straight.
This is simple. This is not hard. Had they sent me the jersey,
oh, they'd already been there.
They would have won. They didn't, and so Karma caught them.
Maryland's still good though.
Send me the jersey.
I like what Maryland's doing. That was just Ohio State's really good on defense. I mean, let's just call it what they are. And when they make good plays on offense, they have good players. They just don't have a good quarterback. All right, LSU, Missouri. We talked about the issue at the end of the game. Here was the thing with this one though. How about all you LSU minus 5.5 bettors or Missouri bettors? And my man talking about football IQ. That's another one. Okay, that's another football IQ issue. Just go down.
Yeah.
He covered the line. People aren't saying anything because they covered that line for him or whatever. But if he goes down, the game's over with. But instead, you have to score. Now you got to kick it off to him. You could technically lose the game. Football IQ tells you to drop right there. And again, it'll be covered on film this week. But it's just, I don't understand. Like you would have been, that's major stuff that nobody really talks about anymore. That you go down in the game. In the game right there. You intercept the ball, go down. You take a knee, you go home with a win. Again, nobody talks about it, but it happened. And don't say it can't happen because it happened to Miami. Okay, so what happens if they score, Missouri gets the kick up, they score, get onside kick and score again and beat you? You're going to feel really stupid about not going down. Like,
of course.
When you have the game won, win the game.
Yeah.
Nobody cares.
Right.
It's a scoreboard business, as my friend used to say.
You're absolutely right.
When the game is won, win the game.
Yep.
That's the point. And in today's world, hand raise guy, when you get your ass fired for not winning and losing, dude, when you got it won, win it. When you got it won, win it. Nope. It bothers me, man.
Oh, there's no doubt.
It's over and over again. All right. Mississippi State, 41, Western Michigan, 28. Bye week comes really good in Starkville. Will Rogers hurt.
How bad's he hurt?
I think he'll be able to play. I think it was in his non-throwing shoulder. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it was in his non. And then Marks got hurt too. He was in a boot.
Okay.
But they got a bye week, so you got a week to get them back healthy. But you lose those two guys, it changes them now because Marks is really good, running back 7.
Yeah,
he's really good. He can play anywhere. And they can't afford to lose those two guys in the same, at this point in time of the year. So bye week's gonna come good. I imagine they'll be getting good rehab there. And then the game that I had to bring up because he was on the show.
I'll see State's next game, by the way.
Who they play?
Arkansas up there.
Okay. And they need it for that game. That's a big game for both programs.
Plenty of good seats available, I'm guessing.
Yes. After we had him on the show, and then we learned that it was a marked game, and he had that name down on the calendar. You took that off your list.
The way that he said it, I was like, scratch.
South Alabama goes to Monroe, and
Kane should make more lists.
He should make more lists. That was a good list.
Yeah.
They win 55-7 against your Warhawks.
Yeah. Rough day for us.
It was 31-0. They scored. It was like perfect. It had to be perfect for him. I haven't talked to him. I text back and forth with him on Saturday before the game. But it'd be interesting to ask him on Thursday. Like they were up 31-0, and Monroe scored right before half. Like literally scored a touchdown. That probably gave them enough to go in the locker room and get after their ass a little bit to reset the tone for the second half, and they did. 55-7 there. Just like we talked about 1 week ago, and this is going to be no shock to you.
Do you know if they went to Cormier's to get crawfish Friday night?
I did not talk to him about it.
Okay.
So the reason I text him, I can't make this shit up. I meant to send you the text. Saturday morning, I decided I want to make chili for the game.
Okay.
For the games all day. My mom and dad were in town, so I go to the grocery store. And guess who I run into right by the frozen food section?
Dave Womack.
Dave Womack. And I took a selfie with me and Dave and sent it to Kane. And I said, I found him. And so I sent it to Kane and Melissa both. And Kane, right before he goes, I guess it was right before pregame meal, he goes, yep, found him wandering the aisles at Kroger. Yeah, so it was good. But 1 week ago today, we talked about it, about my
favorite Dave Womack story. Dave's a huge Cardinals fan.
Yes, he is.
Huge Cardinals fan. And in 2016, when the Cubs had won the World Series, even though Ole Miss's season was starting to decline, he sees me. This is November of 16. We're doing media stuff. He literally stops the middle of an interview, looks over at me and goes, "Congratulations, I guess." And I was like, come on, you've won 1,000. Can't celebrate one. He goes, something. It was just the way he did it in the middle. He stopped literally talking about the opponent or whatever. And congratulations, I guess. That is funny.
You know what my favorite Dave Womack story is? I need to ask Kane about it. I don't know how much Kane's a lot younger than I am, so he may not even care. Do you know who Dave Womack shared an apartment with? And when this was in, I think, I forgot what stop, Missouri, one of the Southwest Missouri State or somewhere.
I don't know.
Sheryl Crow.
No way.
Yeah. Sure did.
How about that?
I want to say he told me that was like they were in the same duplex or it was like they had the upstairs, he had the downstairs, but it was Sheryl Crow was his upstairs neighbor or whatever you call it. How about that? All right, but 1 week ago, we talked about how the Southern Miss AD kneecapped. And guess what? Old Dominion goes down there.
Did he ever go up there and just say, hey, look, all I want to do is have some fun?
That would be great. There wouldn't be no Kane Womack if that was the case.
Oh, I mean, just nail it like that. Just go get a bottle of beer, right?
I don't know.
Remember that song, All I Want to Do?
All I want to do is have some fun. I got a feeling. Oh, yeah. I can get down with some Sheryl Crow.
I mean, he could have just walked up to her and said, hey, you want to go have a beer at noon on Tuesday?
You just looking up Sheryl Crow songs over there? I saw you hit the computer.
Yeah, he goes, hey, there's a bar that faces a giant car wash. We can just go there. All the good people of the world are washing their cars on their lunch break.
I have a feeling that song wasn't written back then.
Hosing and scrubbing as best they can in skirts and suits.
Yeah, I have a feeling that song wasn't written back then.
You know, they drive their shiny Datsuns and Buicks back to the phone company, the record store, too.
That song sounds more like the time period.
He could have said, but they're nothing like Billy and me.
Yeah.
All I want to do is have some fun.
Old Dominion beat Southern Miss.
Yep.
17-13. That was a underdog that almost took, but I did not. I didn't want to pile on. All right, and then Ole Miss, Arkansas. Ole Miss 27, Arkansas 20.
How about my boy Cam, the kicker, by the way?
He's kicking shit out of it.
How about that?
With room to spare.
Got a chance to visit with Cam after the game?
Did you?
I did.
Yep.
I did.
I don't know how he kicks the ball. He's a
small guy.
Skinny small guy.
Yeah.
He's got some juice. He's got some quick twitch in the old hip
apparently
flexors.
was once a very good soccer player, which should surprise nobody. But
you think you have to be a good kicker.
He's got some serious leg. I mean, that's 56 that 56-yarder was good for another
10. He crushed it.
At least 5.
Yeah, he crushed it. Very sleepy game. Very sleepy game. I don't know. I can't, as an offensive guy, it really bothers me watching Arkansas on offense right now.
Yeah, it's a disservice to the players they have.
KJ's release, it takes him 45 minutes to get rid of the ball on stuff that you got to be quick with. And then I cannot stand, drives me nuts, the slow mesh stuff.
Yeah.
That like Wake's into. The slow mesh stuff bothers the shit out of me.
So when he found out that he was losing Kendall Briles, should he gone and gotten another coordinator who ran something similar? Because they're running something completely different, and Jefferson doesn't understand it. Both of his picks were thrown right into coverage where he's not seeing the guy. He doesn't get it very clearly. He looks frustrated. He looks slow.
Well, there's no scheme that's going to keep him. The interception, that was bad. Could be. It doesn't matter what scheme you run. That has nothing to do with scheme.
Okay.
That's like staring one down, and like I don't know if he thought Sistrunk was a ghost because he wasn't. And from the view that I had on the back from where they were showing it, I don't know how he didn't see. There was no. I mean, he's huge. There was a throwing lane there. He threw a strike. I mean, that was the most accurate pass he threw all night. Was the Sistrunk. I'm talking about threw a strike.
Hit him right in the numbers.
Yeah, I was just glad Ashanti caught the ball. That wasn't really, his ball skill is not really his thing. That's why he plays linebacker. You know what I'm saying? And so, I mean, threw a strike. But like he's spitting the ball out on perimeter screens. I mean, the damn defensive lineman damn near gets there. Like you got to be quick. The whole point of that is to take advantage of your numbers. And he just takes forever. And all the mesh, it looks like they either don't practice it enough, but there were too many, like at this point in the year, too many I got it, you take it scenarios in the mesh. Like, dude, this is not hard.
They also ran a play, and I'm hoping for Enos' sake that it was audibled by the quarterback. They ran a play on 3rd and goal at the 9.
They ran quarterback lead power, and I'm like, what are we doing?
What are you doing? They settled for another kick from Cam Little, but
didn't even give him a chance.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Like,
you got to throw that into the end zone, don't you? You got to at least give yourself a chance.
And the only thing I could think of, now here's the thing, is like, I'm going to write this down because I'm going to ask Kane about it on Thursday. I'm going to write down 3rd down versus 4th down. All right. Remind me to ask Kane about this. All right. So everybody's using these analytics going forward on 4th down, all this shit, right? That's like the thing that's really popular. And so it's turned into these 3rd and I would call them 5+, really 5 to 9 scenarios where it used to be 100% pass. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So it used to be damn near 100% pass. And so where like Lane's he was one of the first ones to really do this. And he's taken, I mean, all the mileage that he's gotten out of this the last 2 years is 3rd and 5 to 9. He's in a situation where he knows he's going for it on 4th down.
Right.
When he makes the 3rd down call. And so the 3rd down call, all these teams have been playing coverage. All right. And they hand the ball off. How many cheap first downs has he gotten on a 12-yard explosive run on 3rd and 7 or 3rd and 5? Because people are playing coverage or whatever it is, and you're getting free first downs. Well, now everybody's starting to hey, look, like if I was going against Lane Kiffin and he is in a go for it scenario, which pretty much for him is anywhere between the minus 40 and on. If it's 3rd down, I'm playing run. I don't give a shit. I'm not playing pass because he's going to run the football to set up 4th down. And the only way you're getting, if you notice, he's had to punt a couple more times this year than normal because he's not getting those explosive runs on 3rd and 5+ that when he's running it. And start playing run and stop playing pass. I think people are starting to catch on a little bit. All right, but that game was, and here's the thing, we talk about football IQ and things like that. Again, nobody's going to talk about it because it worked out fine. It's 4th and 1 at your own, 35? Is that right? 34.
4th and 1 at their own 34.
If he doesn't get that, you're giving a team that's average on offense. You're putting them immediately in the field goal range.
They just scored.
They had momentum.
They've got a really good kicker. He's already in field goal range because from that point, you're 51 yards.
Yeah, you're in field goal range.
A field goal gives them a 7-point lead. A touchdown gives them a
6-point lead, right?
No, they were up 4.
They were up 4. Okay, so that gives them a touchdown lead.
Isn't that right? No, they were up 3.
They were up 3, 20-17.
That's
right?
correct.
All right, so
a field goal would have given them a 6-point lead.
It's the difference between 3 and 6. I mean, one's a touchdown and one's a field goal.
Well, it makes it where one more field goal would make them a 2-score lead. I mean, the way he was kicking.
In that scenario with the flow of the game, because they couldn't piss a drop on offense, talking about Arkansas, I'm not giving them a short field, man.
Where they just scored.
They just scored.
And you don't want to, because the young tight end, I think his name is Washington. That was his first start. He had a good game. They'd started to figure out some things with him. You just don't want to put them right back on the field right there, 33, 34-yard line, and let them score or run the risk of them scoring. They score right there, and you're down 10 with 6-7 minutes to go.
That'd have been trouble.
I mean,
they could have tied it, I think.
They did it. They came back against LSU and got it done, but
your offense wasn't doing great either. You know what I'm saying? Like Ole Miss was struggling at that time.
Jackson Dart was hurt.
That's the only thing I could think of is maybe he was trying to create a spark or whatever. But look, at the end of the day, he's 5-1.
Yeah.
And who are you to? I mean, who am I to argue?
No,
it works.
It works. It's like you said. It's not a problem until it's a problem.
It's not a problem until it's a problem. But that one right there, I just had to admit, I actually agree with most of the time because I think punting is for quitters. But I would have thrown in the white flag on that one.
Yeah.
That's the one I would not have. I'd played field position. All right, we talked about Georgia Tech, Miami to ad nauseum. Fresno, you called it too, dude. You almost had this as your money line, right?
I played with it. Yep.
Yeah, Fresno gets popped. They drove down, had a chance to score.
I can't remember what taught me out of it. Anyway.
Yeah, you had that on your list. They had a chance to score there. All right, Neal, NFL, and we'll get out of here.
Okay.
All right, you and I both had the Jacksonville Jaguars plus 5.5 against the Bills. Well, it was 10 crumpets in England, and that was actually I actually did play it. I played the money line, hit that. The Jacksonville Jaguars win 25-20, and it really wasn't even particularly close. They kind of dominated that game. Dude, let me tell you something. Calvin Ridley, he's starting to get his flow on. Calvin Ridley was damn near unstoppable.
Yeah.
Buffalo was down a lot of down players. I think that's something to keep an eye on this week with Buffalo. They're beat up bad. I don't know who they got this week. I'll look later. But
Buffalo was very unhappy with the turf at Tottenham Hotspur.
Okay.
Tottenham Hotspur.
They were unhappy with it?
Yes. So the turf felt too new. It was too – guys felt like they were getting their shoes stuck in the turf.
Yeah, when you get a lot of the tire in there, it does – like it's very grabby. You got to get it. But then when it gets – there's a fine line because once the tire settles, then it gets slick.
Yeah.
So there's this fine line. And I think that's one thing they do in the NFL that they don't do even in college is when you have enough money, you can replace it anytime you want to.
Yeah.
And, obviously they don't. But the Bills got beat. They were beat up. They're still beat up. Be something to look forward going to moving forward. All right. You and I both had the Texans plus 2.5. They get walked off on by the Falcons 21-19, but they covered.
Yes, sir.
Look, I'm not ready yet, but I'm getting damn close. And I'm just being stubborn, just to be honest with you. I'm being stubborn. I was wrong on C.J. Stroud.
Yeah.
I admit when I'm wrong. I will do that. He's playing really well right now.
He is.
Really well.
He is. They have a bright future.
He set an NFL record for most he has not thrown a pick yet, most pass attempts without an interception for a rookie quarterback.
Yeah.
Beat this guy named Tom Brady and Cam Newton. Or it's Tom Brady and somebody else. But they should
be really excited about their future.
Let me tell you why. And I will say this. This is why it's very important. One thing they can do that's helping him out tremendously, and this is where the Texans got it right. And I'm not even talking about C.J. Stroud. This is where the Texans got it right. They have 2 elite tackles that protect him, and they can line up and run the football. When you can run the football and you can protect the quarterback, he's not going to make as many mistakes because he's not breathing out of both ear holes, getting knocked out every damn 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And he's not running. I mean, he's extending plays, but he's not Bryce Young, and Bryce Young is looking like Doug Flutie out there. He's all over the place.
Yeah.
All right.
That was free money, by the way, that neither one of us took, was Detroit over Charlotte.
I hate the big lines, though. That's just me. That's just me.
I took one this week that I never take.
You take the Dolphins minus 12, and I'm just going to tell you why. You had Dolphins minus 12. They covered. They won 31-16.
Yep.
But the Giants had 2 chances to backdoor your ass, and they didn't. They got it down to the 20 on the last one.
Yeah.
And they couldn't get it done. Penalties and things like that got them, set the drive back. But that's why, Dolphins dominate the game, and then you almost lose your cover. That's why I don't mess with it. But you won. The Dolphins. Dolphins are good when they get it going, dude. On offense, A-Chain. I guess he's now saying his correct pronunciation of his name is I think it's Achan.
Mm-hmm.
I can't. He's gonna be A-Chain to me because I can't get that out of my head. Dude, I picked him up in fantasy. Dude, this guy's a machine. He had a 70-something yard touchdown the other day. I mean, he's great. He can roll. And then you and I both hit last night, the San Francisco 49ers, who in the preseason, Neal, I proclaimed them the 2023 Super Bowl champions.
I have them losing the Super Bowl, but I have them in the Super Bowl, and they certainly look like a Super Bowl team.
And they are really good.
They are very, very good.
They beat the Cowboys 42-10 last night. That I had 2 units on it since I had a good day yesterday. I pressed her up, had a really good weekend. The 49ers, we were talking this morning, me and my man Clay Karcher. If you think about it, think about this. The 49ers they literally have a Pro Bowler at every spot except for corner.
Yeah.
Okay. You can't argue what Brock Purdy's doing at quarterback right now.
No.
Okay.
God, no.
It's not sexy, but man, she sure does look good. He processes so fast. The throw he made a throw versus Tampa 2. He recognized it so fast. And they had the perfect play call where you take number 3. Because in Tampa 2, I'm going to give you a little scheme here. Tampa 2, the Mike in Tampa 2, he's actually, the reason it's called Tampa 2 is at the end of the day, the actual picture goes to cover 3, with a Mike is your deep hole player, and your safeties get off the hash to go cover deep thirds, right? Well, the Mike has to carry 3 vertical. So they sent George Kittle right up the shitter, and he was walked up. I mean, they were disguising it really well. They were showing too high. He recognized it. George Kittle had to run. What's the linebacker for the Cowboys? Vander Esch. He had to run there, and then if you can get 3 running vertical, the hole in Tampa 2. That's why people don't run in college anymore. The hole in Tampa 2 is the dig. You got to run 3 vertical, and they had the perfect play call. They called him in Tampa 2. They hit Ayuk on a dig, and he saw it so fast. He just set his feet and threw the dig, and the guy went him out of his break yet. Hit him. I mean, he processes great. You got McCaffrey. You got Kittle. You got Trent Williams. You got Deebo Samuel. You got
Shanahan.
You got Shanahan.
Yeah.
Then you got Bosa, the D-line they have.
Yep.
And the linebackers, they have 2 best linebackers in the league. Okay, with Warren and Greenlaw. They were unbelievable. And you got safeties. They're good, dude. I don't know if anybody can beat them. All right, and then this is the one you hit. I was just waiting on you to get backdoored on this one. I can't believe this hit. Okay, what if I had told you this on Thursday when you made this pick? I'm say, Neal, you're taking the Patriots Saints under 39.5, but Neal, the Saints are going to score 34 points. Do you still want to take that bet?
I would have said no. I'm out.
You'd taken the over probably.
Yeah.
They shut out the New England Patriots.
Yeah.
That's 2 weeks in a row that New England just got the shit throttled out of them.
They just have no offense at all.
It's bad, dude.
It's really bad.
Second week in a row.
Saints actually look pretty proficient on offense.
Again, it's the second week in a row that they haven't done anything, and Mac Jones has been sat down in the middle of the third quarter. They just said, fuck it, let's go.
Well, it's not working. I mean, they got to figure something out because it's not working. But I was super thrilled that there was no late TD.
I bet you were. All right, the 2 games I had different. I had the Rams plus 4.5. They gave me every opportunity to backdoor cover this thing, and they just couldn't twice. They had 2 really good chances to backdoor cover, and they don't. Rams not a bad team, though.
No, Philly's good.
Philly's good.
It's time to – everyone keeps trying to find holes in Philly. No, they're just really solid. This Philadelphia-San Francisco NFC title game is going to be one hell of a game.
Let me tell you something. If they didn't have the tush push, they would probably have lost about 3 games. Now, I don't even understand how nobody else can do it like they can. I know nobody else has a quarterback that squats 600 pounds either. But, dude.
Some of it is the center.
Oh, their whole.
He's terrific.
Well, center guards, both of them, they're so low when they go. They literally, I don't know how many times they ran it in the game the other day. They had, how about this? They had it like at the 1 yard line, 1.5 yard line with 7 seconds on the clock. No timeouts. And they said, screw it, we're going to run it anyway. And they just, you can't stop it.
Yeah.
When they run it, you can't stop it. They ended the game doing that. I mean, you can't stop it. I think it'd be funny if you told me nobody was going to get hurt. I wonder how long if they could just do a drive of nothing but the tush push.
Oh, that'd be interesting.
Now somebody would probably die.
Yeah.
But and then a game that I felt really good about yesterday in the NFL, and it hit. The Jets were getting 2.5 points. The Broncos, and because the Broncos, their defense is terrible. The Jets scored 31, beat them 31-21 for the dub there. So I went 4-1. You went 5-0. So overall, we both went 7-4. So no blood there.
Pretty solid.
And you were now on the green. Neal's 31-30. You're plus 3.35 units. I'm 29-32, minus 2.3 units. And here's the thing, all kidding aside, is you take out the money line bets on it, we're really good against the spread this year.
Yeah. Because the money line makes you take a gamble that you wouldn't otherwise take.
Yeah. So we're doing good against actual spread on that. All right, before we get out of here, I got to bring this up. I hadn't told you I was going to bring this up, but I reminded myself a minute ago. So Friday night, I went to the Oxford Chargers Horn Lake game in Horn Lake.
Mm-hmm.
I saw, without question, I've seen a lot of ball over my lifetime.
That is true.
I can't remember one being worse, but let's just call it top 5 worst officiated games I have ever seen take place in my life. So if somebody's listening and you're part of the Mississippi High School Athletic Association,
yeah,
whoever was calling that game, the White Hat in particular, they should never be allowed.
Was it an anti-Oxford game?
No, it was an anti-everybody game.
Okay.
That's when I call bad officiating. And I coach high school ball too now.
Because there's an anti-Oxford bias.
You get some crews that get you for the phantom holds and all that stuff. But here's what I'm talking about. Okay,
because Oxford gets a reputation not talking about Ole Miss, not talking about Ole Miss, talking about Oxford, in part because of Ole Miss, but it's Oxford.
It's your fault.
Gets a reputation for being very pretentious and snooty and all of that. And listen, it's kind of deserved. I get it. But it impacts some of the stuff that happens on the fields in the high school level. You see it in multiple sports.
All right, so here's what I'm talking about. If you call it one way, that's a whole different discussion about the officials, right? Yeah. This was bad on both parts. Okay, so here let's talk about a couple of these. All right, so the first one, it's whatever in 10, the yardage. Okay, they go and they run a play. Horn Lake is all on offense. They run a play, and it's very like the yard mark to gain the first down. The stick was on the line. Okay, it's a good 2 feet. It's barely across. I think it was like the 39. Okay, so let's say you had to get to the 40. The ball is barely across the 39, the 39, and the White Hat just comes up and peeks at it and goes first down. Okay. And Cutcliffe is losing his mind over here. I would have too. He's a lot nicer. By the way, he is a lot nicer than I ever would have been in this situation. It was so bad that usually when you say first down, the chains move. The side judge didn't even move the chains. He was like, just hold here. And they get on, like now high school officials got the college like walkie deals.
Yeah.
Blows my mind. This is so funny. They will be as close to me and you talking to each other, and they'll be doing this with their microphone like, hey, what'd you see? I'm like, you're talking to him.
He's
Stop.
right there.
He's right there. But they got to show that they can do this right here.
Yeah.
And they were having and so they finally, he says first down. The side judge doesn't move the chains. They finally talk the White Hat. The play clock's running. Horn Lake's ready to run a play. They finally talked the White Hat into measuring. They're like this short of the first down.
Yeah.
It's not even close. All right. That happened. Then I don't remember if this was, I think actually this was on Oxford. Oxford runs on fourth down and whatever, okay? They run an out route on Horn Lake sideline, okay? Same kind of situation. Guy looks over there, so it goes both ways. Guy walks over there, it's on the Horn Lake sideline, looks at it and goes, first down. The chains are all the way across the field. He goes, first down. And so they take the ball that's spotted on the sideline. They throw it in. They re-spot it, getting ready to run a play. Oxford is literally getting ready to snap the ball, and they stop play, take the ball, move it back to the sideline.
You can't do that.
And then bring the chains over.
No,
That's incompetence.
You can't do that.
That's incompetence.
You can't do that.
Okay. All right. Now, my personal favorite, you'll like this. I got two more personal favorites. You think that's bad. This is all in the same game, by the way. Oxford recovers a fumble. Okay. So they're in the pile or whatever. Kid comes out with the ball. He's celebrating, yeah, I got the ball, whatever, like that. He's running very nicely, not showing up anybody, not over celebrating. Tosses the ball to the side judge coming in. Tosses the ball. The side judge tries to catch the ball. It's thrown nice, soft. I'm talking about like what I would throw to my 4-year-old. Nice, easy, soft toss. He can't catch the ball, and he bobbles the ball. It hits his hat, knocks his hat off, and he throws a 15-yard penalty on the kid for throwing the ball to him.
No way.
Yes. And it was like a soft toss, and he couldn't catch it. He bobbles it, knocks his hat off. He throws a 15-yard. Now, there were some. And
They'll do that in soccer. They'll get pissed off at a kid for doing something, and they'll just give him a yellow card. I'm like, he didn't do anything. He didn't do anything. And you're giving him a yellow card because you're upset. Basically, your incompetence got exposed, and so you punish the kid.
Then my other that nobody even noticed. Now this helped Oxford. This hurt Horn Lake, so nobody said anything on the sideline. They had the ball second. They get a false start or something, I think, right? So it's like 1st and 5 or 2nd and 5, whatever it is. Horn Lake gets a procedure call. The side judge, same one that got his hat knocked off, takes the ball and marks it off. I sat there and watched him mark it off 7 yards. So they got a 7-yard penalty on a 5. Nobody said a word. They got a 7-yard penalty. Like, dude, it's not hard. You know what I mean? Like,
my guy just might. Maybe when the ball hit him in the head, he got a concussion.
It's terrible. And the last complaint I got about him that really blows my mind. So it was like 3rd and 9 or something. Oxford sacks the kid. All right. They had 2 penalties on the same play. They had 2 guys in motion at the same time. So they were ticking them back over, and they'd already brought the guy in motion. So that was 1 penalty. And then the guy coming in motion was like Canada. He was running downhill, way downhill before the snap. Yeah. So they throw a flag. Well, Oxford sacks the kid. Okay. He's not taking the penalty. It's 4th and 13 or whatever, and we're declining and punt.
Yeah.
The 2 gurus, the side judge and the white hat, come within 3 inches of each other and are talking to each other through the microphone. Like, what'd you think? What'd you see? What'd you think? They had a fucking 5-minute discussion, and my mom and dad were there with me, and I never yell. I was like, for the love of God, he's going to decline the penalty. It's 4th down. Let's punt. I'm talking about at least a 2 or 3 minute discussion for him to go, illegal shift on the offense. And then he goes, you want to accept? No, he's not going to accept the penalty.
No.
Like, as a referee, you should, they don't, a lot of times in college, they don't even ask.
Yeah, they know.
They only look at you to ask the coach if it's like something that, hey, do you want to take it or you want 3rd down? What do you want to do? What down do you want
a holding on 2nd and 8.
Watch the NFL does it every time. They very rarely, they know if you sack the quarterback on 3rd down, you're not taking the penalty. And it was slowed the game down. It was terrible. It was terrible. Anyway, that's all I got today. I'm mad before we get off.
There you go. All right, we'll be back tomorrow with another edition of the show. It's one that is brought to you by Reign Total Body Fuel, 300 milligrams of natural caffeine, BCAAs, electrolytes, and zero sugar. It's got what you need to push the limits and achieve all of your many goals. Check them out on Instagram at Reign Body Fuel to learn more.
I want to thank everybody in the Cooper Chevrolet chat. And just remember, truck season has been extended at Cooper Chevrolet, Buick, and Anniston through October 16th. It's fall break. Go see them. Get in touch with them. This might be your last chance to get a super low 3.9% financing for 72 months on the new Chevy Silverado Crew Cab, plus no payments for 90 days at Cooper Chevrolet, Buick, and Anniston.
Talk to you guys tomorrow. Thanks for being with us in the stream. See you soon.